Before we even get paint on the brush, stability is key when looking to have the brush do what we want. I personally like to keep my wrist comfortably on the table and have my hands be the only thing I can move, while still being steadily supported. If I'm looking to paint a small detail, touching my hands together creates a solid bond, where my fingers are the only thing moving and the rest of my grip is steady and comfortable. As I base coated the model, it was time to paint the metals, which required both precision and control over the paint load. While my brush did have a thin tip to begin with, as I allowed it to fill up with paint, the tip was no more, as well as my ability to create thin lines. This won't be an issue when working around some areas, but let's see a way to preserve that tip and make use of it on the finer details. With the brush clean, I'll be careful to both pick up paint on the first half of my brush as well as twist and pull to reform the tip and unload some excess paint, allowing me to follow the small trim around the shoulder with precision and no paint overflowing from where I place my brush. Once again, I work the paint up to the halfway mark of the bristles and I twist and pull when I have enough paint to form the tip. When comparing it with the line I drew beforehand, the difference is night and day. After an overall brown wash, I moved into the highlights, for which, where we grab the brush will make our life easier. A grip closer to the tip will be more stable as my movements will abark a smaller area. A grip towards the back will increase the distance the brush abarks with the same type of movement. When painting thin lines, I'm gripping the brush very close to the tip, as well as locking my hands together through the pinky and ring finger like I mentioned in the beginning. All these tips combined will make it much easier to get better results, but as any other skill, practice will be necessary to reach a point where you can quickly cruise through painting your models. And as I quickly tackle this line work, there is another thing to have in mind. As the paint begins to run out and dry, you'll note that the bristles begin to separate. That's the sign it is time to grab fresh paint, but not before rinsing the brush with water to get rid of that half-dried paint. Using orange, I'll glaze some color over the whitish highlights I painted over the pumpkin to return some value to the model. And here I can show you firsthand the effects the direction of your brushstroke has over the paint, as where we finish the brushstroke and lift up the brush will be the place where the most paint will deposit. This will come in handy when smoothing out transitions, much better exemplified on my feathering tutorial I'll link above. If you want to prevent it and get a more consistent glaze, unloading on a paper towel is a common practice to get rid of extra paint. One thing to have in mind when using a paper towel to get rid of extra paint is that it will suck out both paint and moisture, leading to the bristle splitting I showed previously to occur faster. To prevent it, I wet my paper towel as I move into highlighting the cape. One-edge highlighting using the side of the brush is a foolproof way of getting consistent lines on the edges with little to no chance of making mistakes. As you can see here, keeping the brush perpendicular to the edge makes it so that there is no place the paint can go but the edge itself. Do be careful as always of not overloading your brush, or paint will seep through the sides creating a wider highlight. but this is also an advantage when looking to place highlights within highlights, as a pass with an overloaded brush will still yield a wider yet consistent line along the edge, which can be followed with a thinner one within it. I hope you found the video helpful, and that you enjoyed this month's Halloween themed tutorials. I'll be starting next month with something big. If you don't want to miss out, make sure to subscribe. And as always, special thanks to my patrons who give me the extra support each month.